Hello, everybody. Hi. So I'm Nikhil. I run a studio called Junglegym. We're based out of Pune. And over the past 7 odd years, we've been working across various industries, craft beer being one of the more rewarding ones creatively for us. So through this presentation, I'm going to just take you through some of our work and also maybe have a few things that you guys can keep in mind. So we are Junglegym, a brand design studio where design is a function of strategy uh, and work is a function of play. So what I mean by that is that uh, when you are going about designing your brand, the more work you put into the strategy of it and understanding where exactly you want to be positioned as a brand, uh, the better the outcome on the design side. And similarly for us, for designers working on various brands, the more fun we have, the better the outcome of the work is always. That's a little picture of us. We're a really, really small studio. A very young, very small studio, and we're based out of Pune, as I mentioned. That's my team. When we go about design, we follow a very simple procedure, which is basically define, where we kind of understand the client's requirement, their space, who they're targeting, understand who they are, what separates them. And then we kind of reassemble all that in the form of design. That's your basic brand guideline deck, and all of that comes out of that point. And then we finally translate that into packaging, or it may be anything that where a brand touch point happens to be. Right, so through this presentation, I'm going to like kind of look at packaging, and I'll be taking you through some of our projects, but I'll be looking at it from the point of view of familiarity, intrigue, and danger. And you could see like these are the three basic ideas that we react to as consumers, as when we see something. So through our projects, I shall show you like how various projects are familiar, intrigue, or danger. Right, so I started my journey through my first design job, which was for a company called Independence Brewing Company, which is based out of Pune. They're a craft beer brand. And when I came out of college, I was very excited to work on a brewery project. It's like, all the stuff that you see online is all about these beer bottles and great art on them. And I was very excited, and I thought like, amazing, I'm going to get to make beer bottles, and people are going to see my label artwork and be like, wow, and stuff. But what ended up happening, so I immediately, pulled out my Lino tools and started carving away and making these very, Lino cut imagery and artwork. That's one of the first iterations of the logo. Obviously, none of these made it, but I'm just showing you how excited I got and how I was getting very hands-on with it. But eventually, I kind of, we started we realized that what our work is going to be is just more like creatives for social media, and like there was no physical touch point for us, right? It was, and this was what IBC looked like as a venue. You can see like some of our artwork just, pushed into one corner of the space there. The place was really beautiful, but it was it was missing a human touch. So that's what we wanted to kind of bring in. We wanted to bring in something that people could relate to, because at the end of the day, that's what people want. They want connection. And that's when we kind of came up with this a mascot for the brand. This mascot was nowhere in any other form apart from social media. It was just purely designed for social media. And this is like, this guy we used him to allow for current affairs to be spoken about. So here he's talking about something that the Goa chief minister said once, that I have begun to fear now because even girls have started drinking beer. And then the mole says that, and people say, I live under the rock. And then we started using this pigeon who's on the left side here. He's drinking cider, and IBC was very anti-cider at that time. They were all about being very pure to beer and all that. But the pigeon was always seen there drinking cider. So we finally, when IBC came to us and told us that, okay, now we are going to make a cider. So we said, okay, great, let's use the pigeon to kind of like tell the story of our cider and like kind of make fun of ourselves in a way. So we came up with this homing pigeon artwork. That's the beer glass. some coasters, some merchandise. And also, again, to humanize the brand, we started using him in some murals, some wall art within the space. And here he is sitting with the entire animal kingdom. So you can see the Simba lion, you can see the Bira monkey, kingfisher, white owl, white rhino, barking deer. I mean, everything is an animal, right? The toit skunk. And finally, IBC rebranded, and now Brutus is sitting in a bar somewhere drinking Old Monk with his rat friends. Then we went started working with Great State, which is another brewery out of Pune. And for them, we kind of made a whole design system which was full of very hands-on approach. They were a very hands-on brand. So we said, let's give them the tools to let them design themselves. So we gave them a set of stamps, and they would stamp their own visiting cards, making each visiting card unique. This was the design system that we came up with for them. So again, we were still stuck in Instagram. We were not being able to come out of Instagram, and that was quite frustrating for us. So we started to kind of push them, we started to make like cool creatives for Instagram, but finally the pandemic changed things for us. And finally, we had a surface where craft beer could actually say something, say a story onto a bottle. So here we're kind of working with the idea of familiarity, because we're trying to keep our colors very consistent. So when people see this color combination of orange and teal on black, they start thinking about Great State. They realize that, okay, this is a Great State beer. And obviously the whole design language. And that also kind of gave you the opportunity to put a little QR code on the thing, which basically this completed the experience of consuming craft beer. So you're sitting at you order some craft beer home, you scan the QR, and that's a playlist that I had put together for them, where there's like, I'm listening to it on my music system, enjoying some craft beer in my balcony. And then there was these kegs as well, the mini kegs. And for that, what we did was we made a set of stickers, right? And what I realized is that this is a great, a great object, a great container to kind of fill craft beer in. And I'm guessing that people would go from brewery to brewery, getting their beer from that. But yeah, we just kind of made a whole sticker set, and this is all recycled artwork that we have made for them in other places, putting that all back together into one place, where letting the consumer kind of make their own, again, that whole DIY thing coming back. This is what all the, you can see how they all look so different, so colorful, so interesting. And also then you can see now, after the growlers have come in, it's made so much more of a difference to how we consume beer, because now we can cue the consumer up. We can make that person think certain things and expect something before they even have their first sip. So here you can see Great State has collaborated with some artists to make these really cool growler labels. That one's actually printed directly onto the bottle. This one's a screen print. And I came across this recently by Geist, which is a Bangalore-based brewery, where pretty cool artwork, which says, it's called Stratosphere. It's kind of like taking you through this staircase, taking you up into the sky. It cues you up, like, what to expect. These are calm colors. I'm expecting a chill time. And similarly, how do you queue up somebody, right? Like some of you guys might be craft brewers here or running breweries, and you'll want to diversify into some new territories, into maybe kombucha, hard cider, whatever. How do you let a consumer know that what to expect from a flavor, right? Like, what do you expect from kombucha? If I told you what does a kombucha taste like, it would be tart, sweet, tangy, all of these things actually. So that's where we came up with this concept of indescribable. And here we are playing with the second thing I told you about, which is intrigue, right? I don't know what to expect from this bottle. It looks interesting. It's some abstract stuff. I don't see a fruit on it directly, but I kind of see some colors. It's fresh. I want to know more. And we've kind of almost downplayed the word kombucha, because we don't want to confuse people who don't know what kombucha is. So we say that this is something indescribable, come try it, be intrigued, and yeah. These are some of the abstract artworks that were created for the brand. And then we could use this creatively in social media, like saying, guess the upcoming flavor by just a few splashes of color. We created this entire bank of like abstract imagery for the client. And they use that in a very creative way through their social media. Right, so let me just take a break now and kind of shift to something that some of you MBA folk, if there are any of you all out there, or marketing people also, very important basic fundamentals of marketing, I guess, which is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you keep moving up, right, from physiological needs. Once you're safe, then you go into wanting to feel like you are being loved and you have belonging, self-esteem, and finally self-actualization. And if you take that into the beer world, you can see that the largest piece at the bottom is this big chunk which says, I need beer. And they don't care what beer it is, what it tastes like, which style it is, they don't care. The second one, the slightly smaller group, is I need craft beer, which is kind of like the low-hanging fruit for most of the breweries. The third one is I need to drink craft beer with like-minded people. So these are the people who are groups. You unlock one, you unlock 10. And the last one, which is the most evolved, which is all the craft brewers, is that I need to make beer. So forget those guys, that's all of us, or some of us. And as you can see, like this is how much they really care about what they're drinking. It kind of reduces as you come down, because the person who needs a beer just needs a beer. They don't care what it is. So we're really interested in that green section, right? Because they are the important guys who we like to design for. And I feel like I keep promoting this, telling my clients that they are the guys who we really need to design for, because they will champion your cause, they will spread the word, they will stay loyal until you rebrand, until you stop talking to them, until you alienate them. They will give you a steady supply of Instagram ammo, because they will go on, posting about things. And they will proudly wear your merch. That's very important. So I'm going to come to a brand. I don't know how many of you all know of this brand. Maybe I don't know. Okay, but yeah. So this is a brand which has this thing called Mead is not beer. It's called Moonshine. They're a mead, they're not a beer. But for them, we basically did this whole, we designed for that green section, right? We said that we're going to design for the artist. So can we get one artist to make a label, share it, and then let that go viral? So we gave them just a template. So this is literally what we designed for the client. We didn't design anything more than this. And then we worked with various artists. Each artist made their own rendition of how they would want to work with that circle. So you can see quite a cool, different set of imagery here. So there's no concept that kind of ties it all together. It's just a white circle. There's consistency, and there's a lot of changing artwork. And there was also like a crowdsourced campaign that they did on Instagram, where they asked people to submit their artworks, and the winner would get featured on the label, and they would get paid and all of that. And literally 100, 200 entries came in. So this brand is now sitting on like so many different artworks, where they could choose any for their label, and obviously remunerate the artist. But this saw some amazing social media engagement for the brand. And this just goes to show that, like, because now let's just say any one of these people shares this on their page, their entire friend circle have no idea what Moonshine is, and now suddenly they do. And that is the power of crowdsourcing. So that's why this section is so important for us, because they really push hard. They don't care about it's about them. It's the whole new creator, the whole gig economy, creators that are kind of the modern people who are pushing things right now. This is a kind of like a brand which is not yet out there, and I've taken permission from the founder to be able to share it. For this is literally the first look that anyone has of this new brewery that's coming out of Bombay. Very, very cool, very aggressive and unapologetic brewery that's coming up. Really good fun working on it. It's called Rolling Mills, and here again for this brand, we've got this really simple idea for the label, which is transition, which is change, transformation. So the left side of the label always has is something that's happening, and then on the right side it changes into something else. And this is basically we're playing with danger, something that just makes you look and be like, what is that? You know, we're playing with that shock value. So for example, now here is a pretty good example of how where the client came to us and said, I've got a fruited saison. I want you guys to, come up with a name. So we called it I Love You, which is the name of a virus from the 2000s. And that virus would land up in your inbox saying, I love you. And if you would click on it, you would get to know. I mean, the virus would basically ruin your machine. It's created millions and millions of dollars of losses for various companies. But we thought it was a nice, interesting thing to play with. Also, a fruited saison is a little bit like sneaky that way. It can come across a little bit light and mild, and it can get you pretty, pretty messed up. So, so you can see like how, again, the transition happens. On the left side, we've got this very calm, very gray love letter for you. And then when you open it, there's just chaos on that side. That's what the can looks like. Yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you.